Hey everybody, today we are playing TPC Harding Park, which opened in 1925. It's located really right in the middle of San Francisco, and it's kind of surrounded by Lake Merced, and you can see Olympic Club as well as San Francisco Golf Club from some of the holes on this golf course. They've hosted some very big events, including the 2009 President's Cup, and of course the 2020 PGA Championship when Collin Morikawa won his very first major title. Now, with that said, they do have plans to host more PGA Tour events. They were going to host the 2026 President's Cup. However, it appears that Stephen Curry is actually going to be hosting a possibly even the Safeway Open at TPC Harding Park, and that's just a rumor, but it sounds like that's the reason that it was moved from TPC Harding Park to Medina in 2026. Okay. So I actually started on the back nine for this course. Now, this was number 1 for the President's Cup, however, number 10 for the PGA Championship. So really, it's however you'd like to look at it. I did put an asterisk by hole number 1 in my scorecard at the top right of the screen. So really just remember, if you play on a normal day-to-day round, this is number 10 on the scorecard. Hit a good drive, and this was the only hole of the day that wind really played much of a factor. So it was kind of at us, but the wind really stopped after this hole. So I hit a driver off the deck to keep it low out of the wind, hit it really well just short of the green. But little did I know that staying in the fairway was extremely important on this course. So if I did it again, I probably would not have hit a driver off the deck for that second shot. So you'll see how considerably this green slopes from back to front, and I just didn't quite get it all up there. Now, I still have an uphill putt, and you'll notice how much this breaks towards Lake Merced. So always make sure you've got an eye on Lake Merced on this course, because a lot of the putts will break directly towards it. So this was a significant break to the left, and it was a pretty slow putt. And I will say, compared to the other 4 rounds of golf that I played on this golf trip, these greens were by far the slowest. So you'll see me leave a lot of putts short on this golf course. So still really nice greens and decently quick compared to most maybe here in Utah, but much slower than the others that I played in California. In the 2020 PGA Championship, this hole actually had a hole-in-one on it. Now, you'll notice in this video there's a lot more fog than when I'm playing it today, and just know that when you go out and play really any golf course in the Bay Area, if you get this dense fog like a lot of courses do, especially during the morning times, you're going to want to club up more often than not. So I was still hitting an extra club on a lot of shots today, but a lot of that is because I'm playing out of the thick rough very often during this round. So this is just a long par 3 though, 196 yards. Usually I'd hit a 6 iron, but because I'm down at sea level, I hit the 5 iron and I still came up a little bit short. Not perfect contact on this. So I have my little sand shot here, and unfortunately I was actually not able to record my putts on this green. Somebody was standing right in front of my camera, so I wasn't able to record the putts, but chipped up to about 15 feet, and I did miss that putt for my par, so I made a bogey 4 on number 2. So this hole is a dogleg left par 5, and you can actually take this a decent ways to the left, pretty much right where that target dot is on the screen. And you'll notice that I hit this right at that number. So this was a perfect drive, and I'm not sure if it hit something out there or what happened, but this went a lot further than I would have expected it to go. So I only had 167 yards in, and because of that, while I was playing this hole, I only thought this was a par 4. Now, there have been big tournaments in the past, including the 2020 PGA Championship, where they did play this hole as a par 4. So all along, I actually thought this was a par 4, and it wasn't until 3 or 4 holes later that I actually realized that this was a par 5, and I got a birdie on the hole. So you'll see my chip up here, and then I just had a nice little 6 to 8 footer for my birdie, which at the time, again, I thought was just a par putt.
Really very nice and good.
So I thought I was 1 over after 3 holes, but a little while later in the round, again, I said I figured out that was a par 5, so sure enough, I was even par going into 4. Now, this shot, I would recommend you just go a lot further right than I hit it here. I hit this drive really well, but it just kept carrying. and went all the way into the trees through the fairway. So feel free to take your ball quite a ways right of where I hit mine, because as you can see, I'm kind of in jail back here. With that said, I just had a pitching wedge in, and the pin is kind of right behind that V-shaped tree that you see in front of me, so I tried to hook it through here, and this was actually one of my best shots of the day, so you're going to see just how close I am here for my birdie out of being in jail there. So this next hole actually played as the 14th hole in the PGA Championship, and this is where Collin Morikawa had his famous chip in as he was kind of coming down the stretch here of his PGA Championship win. So this is a pretty wide open hole for the most part. However, again, if the rough gets thick here, even though it looks wide open, you really don't want to be in the rough. Unfortunately, you're going to start seeing a trend throughout my round is that I am in the rough all day long on this golf course. And I hit a good drive here, nice long drive, but I did push it just a little bit right into the rough. So I've just got a little pitching wedge up the hill here. And you're going to notice here how thick the rough is, because it really grabs your club. And if you can't make perfect contact and get a lot of speed through that rough, it's going to be hard to get your ball started on line, which is exactly what happened to me there. But I've still only got probably about a 20-footer for my birdie. All right, number 6. This was, I would say, probably my second best drive of the day, but just note that this is the last fairway that you're going to see me hit the entire round of golf. So if you want to see me play out of a lot of thick rough and all over the place, keep watching this video, because this is the last time you're going to see me in the fairway the entire day. And of course, the really famous drive that Morikawa had on the 16th hole, which today for me is number 7, that's where I'm at now. Now, where I'm teeing off from, I'm teeing off a little bit further back than where they had this tee box. They moved the tee box actually ahead of the white tees for that final round for them during the PGA Championship. But even then, it's only 330, so it's probably not quite drivable, but with that said, I did pull this quite a bit to the left. It's tried to cut for me, but unfortunately I hit it over that bunker, so I'm in a little bit of trouble here off of this 7th tee box.
From one of the best, let's go to our worst plays of the week, the not top 10.
Yeah, I might have had a couple choice words after that chip shot, but that's kind of the story of my short game, at least on this hole, that's for sure. But this is actually my 4th round that I played in this California golf trip. I decided to upload this round first, but luckily I did get video of nearly every shot that I filmed during this entire golf trip. I only missed a few different shots, so you'll see 5 total videos. This is the first of the 5 golf courses that I played, but next you're going to be seeing both golf courses at Half Moon Bay Golf Links, which in my opinion are 2 of the most underrated golf courses in the country. And as you see me tapping for my double bogey here on number 7, we're also going to be playing Pasatiempo and then Spyglass Hill to finish it off. So 5 golf courses, so this will be a great California golf trip series that you'll see here soon. Now, the 8th hole is a par 3, and nothing really tough about this one unless there gets to be some wind. So usually the wind is going to blow it out to the right, and it's a really difficult chip out from the right there, and unfortunately that's exactly where I hit it. So I hit it just over the bunker, and again, you've got this really thick rough, and it's really hard to control any type of speed and even direction out of this stuff. So just kind of tried to hack it out of here, rolled a little bit past. And once again, you're going to notice that after my first good 6 holes, I'm starting to really struggle on the short game, so that's another bogey after my double. But now we get to probably the signature hole on the course. This does play as the 18th hole for the PGA Championship, but I'm actually taking this drive right at those big trees, and I hit this drive really well. So this drive was struck about as good as any drive today, but I did mention that I had not hit any more fairways, and sure enough, this came up just short of the fairway, but it was a good drive. So not too thick or rough here, luckily, and this is just an uphill shot. You do need to add about 1 club on this shot in, but the pin is all the way back, and it's a very long green from the front to back. And if you remember, Bryson DeChambeau actually made a putt from the very front of the green all the way to the back of the green on this green. So kind of a cool hole, and when you're there, you're right on Lake Merced. Definitely the signature hole, I would say, at TPC Harding Park. Alright, an easy little tap-in par to finish off the front 9, so 3 over on the front 9, not terrible, just had a couple bad holes there towards the end. Now, remember, you can play TPC Harding Park for free. If you don't live in San Francisco, this can cost you upwards of $200 to play this course, but if you go to $0golf.com, you can actually play this place for $0. All you have to do is just follow the directions on that website, and it's really just telling you to use me whenever you're ready to buy or sell real estate anywhere in the country. Just call me first, and I will find you the best agent in your area, or if you're in the state of Utah, call me, and I would love to help you buy or sell a house. If you do that, you're going to be able to play here for free. There's also golf courses like Pebble Beach, Spyglass Hill, all the courses that I'm playing in this golf trip. I will pay for your next round at any of those golf courses. Just go to $0golf.com. That's ZERODOLLAR golf.com, and you can play here for free. So another little side note, because this is my 4th round, I actually walked 2 of my first 4 rounds during this trip. So I walked at Paso Tiempo, then I walked at Spyglass Hill, and I'm walking this course here at TPC Harding Park. So unfortunately, I'm not much of a walker on the golf course, and I'm starting to get tired. So you're going to notice a lot of my iron shots and my drives start to go right. It kind of becomes pretty much a habit all of a sudden, and the good thing about filming a lot of rounds is that you can actually see what you're doing wrong. So I should have watched this earlier on while I was still on the golf trip, but I realized that I was turning quite a bit too fast, and my club head just wasn't getting through quick enough. So I was getting a lot of pushes on the irons, and you'll see me kind of get frustrated here after a little while with how often I was pushing some of these iron shots. Number 12 is one of my favorite holes on the golf course. It's an uphill par 3, and it really kind of looks cool going down the chute of all of these cypress trees. Now, it's uphill, so you got to add at least 1 extra club. I played this about 178 yards, about an extra 10 yards. Up the hill, it was a back pin location, and I got it all the way back there, just, again, a little bit of a push to the right. So I've only got about 20 feet here for my birdie. The 13th hole, in my opinion, is the most difficult golf hole on TPC Harding Park. It's a 580-yard par 5 with a big dogleg left, and you really can't cut it as much as you'd like to. Where I went here is about as far left as you can really go, and you'll see that I still ended up in some pretty thick rough. Now, I don't know exactly why I did this, but I decided it'd be a good idea to take a driver off the deck out of this thick rough 340 yards away. So of course I can't get anywhere close to the green, but luckily I made decent contact, just punched it up there to about 120 yards and just have a little bit of a wedge in. And one thing to recognize off the tee box on this hole is that you should not be afraid to just hit a long iron or wood off the tee, because if you go through the fairway, there's really a whole bunch of jail over there with all the trees that are through the fairway off the tee. So I know I kept this one as far left as I could off the tee box, but even then it's not easy. So just try to get it in the fairway to give yourself the best chance at a birdie. Fortunately, I hit another really bad iron shot in and have this sand shot now just for my chip up for birdie, and still leaving myself about 8 feet for my par. Number 14 is a fairly straightaway hole. I would favor the right side if I were you on this tee shot. I, of course, favor the left side with my cut. However, I just didn't cut quite enough off of this tee box. Not a terrible drive by any means, but it does still leave me in that left rough. I did clear most of those trees, so I know it looks like it's going right in the trees, but it did carry most of those. So I've just got an iron shot out of the thick rough here up to a fairly small green. This is not one of the bigger greens on the golf course, so make sure to recognize that and leave yourself the right chip if you're not going to be able to hit the green in two. Alright, number 15, look away now if you are not ready to see my worst shot of the day.
The club as well. That's halfway across the...
Where'd you go?
It's just at that tree right in front of us. So that was a duck hook straight into that tree off of the tee box, and so I've still got well over 300 yards in on this already long par 4. I was just able to hack it out of this thick rough back into the fairway, which was really a good recovery shot, all things considered, out of that rough. So back in the fairway, which is always good on this golf course. If you can keep it in the fairway at Harding Park, there's no reason you can't score pretty decently, but especially during like a PGA Tour event when they get that rough really thick, it's going to be really difficult to score well if you're in the rough all day like I was today. And as you can see, another pushed iron out to the right, starting to get frustrated with that. And look how thick this rough is just right around the green for this pitch. Alright, another double bogey. Starting to get a little frustrated out here, all the way up to 6 over par, even though I was even par through 6 holes today. So, starting to get tired. I will say my legs are really starting to hurt out here. I actually have to be going to a Golden State Warriors game right after I get done with this round. So, I was anxious, I was excited to be done, get to the game, but I am starting to get really worn out at this point of the round, especially because I'm playing in thick rough all day and cannot seem to hit a fairway to save my life. But a lot of these are just kind of tired swings, not going really in the direction that I was hoping they would go at all. And now, not only am I swinging bad, but you're going to see here that my putting, I know it's bad already, but now it starts to get ugly. 17th hole is the location of Tiger's very famous fist pump during the 2009 President's Cup. Now, I didn't quite give a fist pump like Tiger did during the 2009 President's Cup, but I do really like this par 3. It's a little bit more down the hill, but don't let that deceive you. I'd still probably play this right at the yardage. So I played this 196 5-iron and hit a pretty nice shot, just kind of a high draw and just kind of onto the left corner of this green. The 18th hole, which might be the 9th hole depending on how you play this course, is home to one of the most famous shots by Tiger Woods in all of President's Cup history. He essentially won the President's Cup for the United States on this hole. Now, all 3 guys that I played with in this round were really cool guys, and they helped me out a lot throughout the golf course, and he told me stay left of those bunkers, so you'll hear kind of our interaction here. I stayed left, that's for sure.
That far left? Yeah. That's a little left, brother.
So I did hit a tree flush on the fly here, and luckily it bounced back towards the fairway, but still in the thick rough. So I just had to hit this recovery shot. It was actually a really good recovery shot out of this rough back into the middle of the fairway. But just remember, if you have to hit out of this stuff, just make club head speed a point of emphasis, because the more club head speed you can have out of here, the better off you're going to be, because especially if you're decelerating through that stuff, you're not going to get much distance whatsoever out of that rough. Now, I must be getting used to hitting out of the rough, because even this fairway shot with my wedge, now I'm duck hooking my wedges apparently. So either way, got a long birdie putt here, and that's TPC Harding Park. That's the course. It's a pretty straightforward golf course. Nothing too crazy unique about it. There's some cool holes. That finishing hole, well, I guess on my front 9 today, is a really unique hole. I love that hole, but for the most part, it's a straightforward golf course, and they can definitely make this golf course much more difficult than I played it today. I mean, they grow the rough out, make it a little bit more narrow. This can be an extremely difficult golf course. It did kick my butt today. I only hit 2 out of 14 fairways, so my drives were not ideal, I would have to say, and 34 putts is also pretty pathetic. So only 1 birdie, and that brings my YouTube career stats after 4 rounds on YouTube. I'm at 6 over with 7 over today, so I was 1 under before today, but now I'm 6 over par, 14 birdies, and as you can see, my par 3s have been struggling a little bit. So just remember, as we close, go to $0golf.com, that's ZERO $0golf.com, and you'll be able to play Harding Park as well as many other of the best golf courses in the United States for free.